Well, how can kids learn about the Constitution in a way that actually makes sense?
Just study it. So I was about to say read it, but I caught myself. Like, study the Constitution. Like, really sit back, read it, try to understand it. You got
Even I have a good one. Like, listen to like your 7th, 8th grade civics teacher. Listen to your civics teacher. They teach you so much.
Yes.
I know, because I learned the rap thing that you were talking about earlier. I even know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and pay attention in your history classes, because if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yes.
Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today. And I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Now, today's guest is someone who takes a camera, goes into public places, and tests whether people in power are actually following the Constitution. Now, imagine walking into a government building, pulling out your phone, and making sure your rights are respected. Sounds intense, right? Well, today's guest turned that idea into a mission, promoting transparency and accountability by recording in public spaces and educating people about their rights. So please welcome the one, the only, the fearless Zach the Liberty Troll.
True trick or troll, baby.
Well, thank you for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
All right, so Zach, for kids who have never heard of your work, what exactly is a First Amendment auditor?
I like to define a First Amendment auditor. Of course, there can be different definitions, but essentially it's someone who exercises their First Amendment, singular or plural, because you got multiple elements under the First Amendment alone, who goes out in public and stress tests these rights that we all share. And I like to always talk about the different elements. Briefly, you have freedom of speech. Everyone knows that one. You have freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of press, and then freedom, of course, to petition your government. And the biggest one that you see auditors exercising, whether it be on a public sidewalk or inside of a tax collector's office, DMV, correctional facility, what have you, it's usually freedom of press, and they assert their rights in a peaceful way within the confines of the law. And of course, you find some folks that don't really like it or are uncomfortable. And that's the point, ruffles a little bit of feathers, not in a bad way, but just kind of it entices some conversation to be had and opportunity to administer some education. So the purpose is to educate. And, a lot of people say, part of that you'll hear the phrase to promote transparency and accountability within our government, and that's all true, but it's also about educating the public at large. And so and the reason I say there's a little bit of debate is because traditionally it was done inside of public buildings primarily, and more recently you're seeing a lot more of a mixture out on a public sidewalk, which lately I've been doing a lot of those outside of banks, any business, but you're staying on a sidewalk, public property, and that's key, and you're asserting your rights in a peaceful manner.
As long as you're not inside of the property or on the property, as long as you're on the sidewalk or outside, you're always good. But how did you first get starting, doing the audits?
I came across another YouTuber who goes by Long Island Audit. Shout out to Long Island Audit. Love you, Sean. And I accidentally ran into his, just scrolling one night. You know how we all go to bed, like whatever it is, 9 o'clock, for example, and then you're like scrolling for 2 hours. And I came across one of these videos and I had no idea what this was. I had never seen it. I'm a little late to the party. All right. I've only been doing this for about 3 years now. And that's exactly when I found out about it, how I found out about it. Nothing too exciting of a story. Just kind of stumbled across and said, that's cool. And my son started binge watching these.
Really?
Yeah. He was like 10, I think, at the time. And he's like, Dad, you should do this. And I was like, yeah, I'm already resolved. It's happening. So
there you go. So were you always interested in the Constitution growing up?
Oh, yeah. I've always been very vocal when it comes to things I'm very passionate about. One of those things is our constitutional rights.
Okay. So what was your very first audit like?
Oh, it was nerve-wracking. You would be surprised. I was very nervous. You wouldn't be able to tell today, but I wanted to start small, so I went to my local library in Celebration, Florida, which is in the Orlando area. And I walked in there, didn't say much at all. It was as quiet as a mouse. I hid in the shelves, the bookshelves inside the library, and kind of just waited around to see what would happen. Within half an hour, I believe it was, law enforcement came in. I knew because their walkie-talkies were going off, you know.
Yeah, you can always hear that click, 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 all that.
So I was super nervous. And I said, "Are you guys here for me?" They said, "I don't know, are we?" And they went back in private, spoke with the librarian who had them come out there for a suspicious person. And long story short, they ended up not violating my rights, so that made me feel a whole lot better.
There you go. So did you know what you were doing, or were you like figuring it out as you went?
I was definitely figuring it out. I mean, I knew what not to do. For the most part, and I knew like what my rights were, but as far as how to deal with a trespass situation and being trespassed, it took personal experience to go through that to understand the nuances as far as that's concerned, to make sure I didn't step in anything.
We always make a few mistakes, you know.
Yeah, I'm certainly
just a few.
Absolutely, we all do.
Well, were you like very nervous the first time you started recording, or was it like I'm a little nervous?
I was very nervous.
Okay.
I was very nervous. I think I was visibly shaking. Hopefully my camera didn't pick it up, but nobody said anything, so I guess I did a pretty good job suppressing it.
Well, there you go. So at what point did you realize that this could actually be something you could do for a living?
Well, I had 2 jobs at the time that I started, and then once I started bringing in about $2,000, $3,000, I said, "Wow, that's very gracious," you know. But eventually, I ended up getting arrested. Out of the hundreds of times I've done this, I've been arrested once. It was an unlawful arrest, and I was actually.
Did you fight it?
I did. I was wrongfully found guilty, and then I appealed it. And then the appeal basically didn't really help either. So unfortunately, it is what it is. But I ended up, it made it more difficult for me to get back into the line of work that I was doing before. So, but by that time, I was already doing well enough to kind of just do this full time. So that's where I'm at. I'm doing this full time now.
Well, there you go. So what are you actually testing when you go into these public spaces?
I'm testing our rights in public to make sure that our public officials or employees treat us with respect and above all recognize and honor our rights, which is what I typically say in just about all my intros when I'm about to walk into a public building. Now, if I'm going to be going on a public sidewalk, I say we shouldn't have any problem exercising our rights, right? Well, I mean, we do live in the United States of America, right? Right? And then I go right into it, and what we find is oftentimes people will get irrates in their panties in a wad over nothing, and then law enforcement comes out. Then it becomes a test to see if they're going to honor their oath.
Well, there you go.
Because they all swear an oath to the Constitution in order
do.
to become a law enforcement officer.
All right. So why is recording in public so important?
Well, because, in public we have the right to freedom of press, which is typically what I am exercising in public. And the reason is because when you're on private property, it's a little different. When you're on private property, if the owner, whoever owns that small business, if it's a small business, for example, they can say leave, and it doesn't matter what the reason is, you have to leave. But on public property, it's different because you have to, there has to be a crime afoot. So if you're not committing any crimes, then they can't lawfully make you leave.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do most people understand their rights or not really?
Well, it's hard to say. I would say no. A lot of people are more ignorant of their rights than they should be, but I think even a lot of those who do understand or know that we have these rights, they just don't care or they don't like it. They think they're rights, but they're inappropriate, which begs the question, so our rights are inappropriate? So I feel like people need to be desensitized to this, so it becomes normal, because there's not too many people exercising their rights as Americans anymore.
So what is the biggest misconception that people have about the First Amendment?
A biggest misconception is they'll say, well, you're just using your First Amendment right to rage bait. And my answer to that is, well, you can't rage bait somebody who's not full of rage.
Yeah.
If you're getting rage baited for someone peacefully exercising their rights, then maybe, I don't know, I would recommend something else, like maybe therapy or maybe this is an opportunity to administer some education so they don't get, rage baited. They actually are happy to see that there's somebody who's like-minded and is actually acting like an American, which that's my name, Liberty Troll. It's trolling with liberty into places that forgot what it means to be an American.
It's part of the name.
Exactly.
Well, do you ever go in like expecting everything to go smoothly?
Knowing, living in the world and gaining some wisdom over the years, being in my 30s now, I can't say that going into places is going to. I'm not going to expect a lot of what am I trying to say? A lot of good responses. I do get a lot. I do get a lot of people coming up to me all the time who say, "Hey, I watch your videos. Yeah. I love what you do." There's actually a lot of that, especially in this area. But it just depends on where you go.
Yeah.
But there's also always going to be an element of the negative aspect of that. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you see all of that in pretty much every video.
All right. So run me through like what usually happens when people see your camera.
Usually what happens is they give me what I call looky-loo, and then they kind of go, okay, that's different, whatever, a little odd, and they just go about their day. That's the typical response, which is normal. And then another big element of that is people will say, oh, okay, cool. You do you, boo, whatever, you do you go about your day, you gotta go about mine, and that's also a very normal kind of response, whatever floats your boat. And then you'll get people who are like, who assume the absolute worst, and say they'll come up and they'll start, harassing me, and while they're saying that I'm harassing them, but I'm standing like 50 feet away on a public sidewalk. Like, excuse me, who's harassing who? Yeah. But I'm pretty good at de-escalating, so I do my best to try to, without caving to their demands, I wait for them to get to a point where they're genuinely asking me with a genuine curiosity. And once I sense that, then I start opening up a little bit more as to what I'm doing. But I'll ask them questions like, do you believe in the Constitution? Okay, great. I'm looking for people like you. That's one of the reasons why I'm out here. And then there we go. We start talking about the Constitution and the First Amendment.
Well, there you go. So why is it important for people to better understand their rights?
Well, as Americans, we used to notoriously be known for being brave, right? What's the saying I'm thinking of? Land of the free because of the brave, right? Mm-hmm. We used to love talking about these rights. And it was, we were known as like a strong nation because of it. Like not just strong in military, but like strong-minded, strong-willed. And it was like, heck yeah, we have these rights. Like, yeah, baby, true control, But now people are just, they're satisfied just going home and playing video games all day or being a couch potato. And to them, as long as they can do that, they're free. So they don't exercise their rights, and now it's gotten to a point through propaganda, through legacy media, and whatever else. When they see someone exercising their rights, it's actually frowned upon as a bad thing.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird. But you know what? Here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Now let's hear a word from our sponsors.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut! That's a wrap! Just use that!
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
Looking good.
And we're back here with Zach, and we are not telling him his last name, and also known as Liberty Troll. All right, so Zach, your videos get a lot of attention online. What kind of moments tend to go viral?
Well, I hate to say it, but the majority of those who watch my videos are watching it for the entertainment value. of course, I want to leverage everything towards the educational purpose behind it, which is my intention. But I look for I just hope for organic responses, experiences. I don't go there trying to control what happens in my videos with wherever I'm going. And just whatever happens, and I just deal with it, and I de-escalate to the best of my ability. Again, without caving into giving up my rights.
demands,
I assert my rights, but I do it peacefully and respectfully and stay within the confines of the law, of course. But I just deal with it, whatever happens.
Well, have you ever been surprised by how people react to you?
Oh yeah, I can't believe it how angry people get, because I'm such a nice guy. You've known me just a little bit behind the scenes. I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, that's exactly how I am.
Yeah.
And I don't want to start confrontations with people, but if they start confrontations with me, it is what it is. And I think to answer your question, that's what most people look for. And, I think the controversy really helps with the clicks and views, but that's not what I'm looking for. But I know that that's what's going to happen. I just deal with it with my own style and my own way, and people like it. So
there you go.
That's what it is.
So what's the craziest reaction that you've ever gotten?
Oh man, where do I begin? I would love to ask my audience if they were here what that is. They're watching this live, so perhaps I can go back later and see what they say. But if you were to ask, so you're asking me personally, the craziest one, I would say I was outside. I was inside of a tax collector's office. Oh. And this is the one where I was arrested. I think this will probably be a good one. I was arrested once out of the hundreds of times I've done this, and there was a law enforcement officer, a deputy, who was a deputy for 18 years, actually. So you would think he would understand the difference between private property, public property, understand our rights to some degree, and not want to cause a liability for his department. But yeah, I was just recording peacefully inside of a public lobby, inside of a tax collector's office, or DMV. And he asked the lady who came up to me, who was the manager on duty at the time at the DMV, and she said, "You can't be back here doing this." And I said, "Oh, yeah, sure. What makes you say that? I can. It's my First Amendment right, blah, blah, blah." And the deputy came up and said, "Do you want me to remove him from the property?" So he did what's called soliciting a trespass. And she said, "Well, I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't really, So she didn't say yes. She didn't say no. But the deputy went rogue, and he decided to go ahead and put his hands on me. Oh. So he did an unlawful detainment.
That's not real.
In handcuffs.
That's not good. That's not good.
And so then he put me in the back of his patrol vehicle, walked me outside of handcuffs, took me out of handcuffs when he realized, whoops, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And then he was waiting for a supervisor. So I thought, okay, when the supervisor gets here, I'll clear all this up. I'm outside now. I'm still on the property, but it's public property, but I'm out. He took me out of the area that was of the concern. Yeah. And long story short, they continued to detain me. And this is all on video on my channel. Huh. And I figured they would let me go at some point if I just cooperated, which I did. And I even stated multiple times, if you guys are going to arrest me, if I go back in the recording, I'll leave under threat of arrest. So I was looking for that standing, and they gave it to me. But they said, "You're not free to go. You're not free to go." So they didn't release me. So if I would have walked away, I would have been in a bad position. But staying apparently was bad too, because they ended up arresting me. So they said, "You need to stay here." So when I complied, I got arrested for complying. And they arrested me with they charged me with 4 charges.
Of what?
They got me for trespassing after warning, which later during trial they changed to a different trespass statute. I didn't know they can do that. Apparently they can. They also charged me with resisting without violence. And they charged me with giving false ID to a law enforcement officer, which I never even gave my ID. And then 4, they charged me later, a month later, with disorderly conduct. So total of 4 charges. If you can believe that.
So 4 absolutely insane charges. Mm-hmm. Did they have at least their body cams on? Was there sufficient evidence?
Oh, they don't wear body cams. Yeah, that's crazy. In 2026, under Sheriff Grady Judd, he forbids anybody who's under his supervision or oversight. They do not wear body cams. So thank goodness I was wearing my body cam because
Yeah.
the sheriff deputy turned off my cell phone, which is what I always record with. That's since I started. It's always been the cell phone, and then I just have a little backup, body cam
Just
for my
in case.
protection for
Yeah.
exactly this kind of reason. And so that's how I was able to get the video out there of what happened once I was unlawfully detained.
So did the judge say anything about your evidence or no?
Well, I think I remember the judge saying something about my detainment being unlawful, but somehow I still was found guilty of trespass, which anything after unlawful detainment should be just thrown out because
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been detained. I should have just been free to go, and I
Yeah.
would have left if I wouldn't have been detained by law enforcement.
Exactly.
I guess they wanted me there to arrest me.
Okay. Well, have you ever had someone thank you for what you do?
Oh, yes. In my 2 most recent videos, there's multiple people walking up to me who know exactly who I am. Liberty Troll, I watch your videos, I love what you do, and then I'll give them an opportunity to shout out their Instagram or business. If they're a small business owner, I like to support my small business owners out there. It's happened more and more.
Yeah, nice. Well, do you think your videos actually make a difference?
I do, yes. I've gone and done revisits to places I've gone to before.
Oh, really?
Where there was a problem the first time, and I go back and they're like, everything's yes sir, no sir, how can I help you, let's get that public records request on the double, and no issues usually when I go back. And then also I've been invited by a chief of police at a police department here in Florida to go conduct a 2-hour in-service training for their officers there.
Wow. So do officers generally understand your rights?
I'm finding more and more that they understand what a First Amendment auditor is, and when they see some of the evidence of a First Amendment auditor, like, oh, there's a guy on the sidewalk with a camera. Okay,
okay.
I think I know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
And they're getting better and better. Like, they're not demanding ID. They're not trying to, in other words, they're not trying to violate my Fourth Amendment right to protect my my person, papers, and effects. And they're not kicking me out of buildings as much anymore.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what I'm seeing, though, still is like when they're educating the staff who called law enforcement to go out there, is they'll say, well, unfortunately, we can't do anything because he has rights.
Yeah.
If he didn't have rights, we would love to hem him up. They don't say it exactly like that, but that's sort of the attitude.
Yeah.
But even so, more and more, I was just in New Jersey recently, this past week, and law enforcement did not do that. They were actually talking about protecting my rights in a very positive way, with pride. That's our job.
There
Our
you
job
go.
is to make sure we're not violating people's rights, and they spoke about it in a way that's favorable towards the Constitution they swore to protect.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned getting arrested. So did getting arrested ever make you want to stop making the content, or did it make you just want to make more?
Both. So at first, made me want to go do more. And then, when you're facing these charges and you look at how much jail time you're, and you start seeing the games they play and just how little they care about the law, you would think that when the law's on your side, you are bulletproof, right? You should be. But when you're in the situation yourself and you're going through the process is the punishment. And when you're going through the process and you're spending all this money on attorneys and, they're scared of offending the judge and stuff, and you see how they try to tiptoe around the judge's feelings, and then you see how much is in the hands of these strangers, if it's a jury trial, and it's all contingent upon how much they know, right? Or if they like what you're doing, if they like you. If they don't like what you're doing, they see you as a menace, they might say, well, I don't care if he's in the right. I don't like what he does, and I'd rather see this person sit in jail for a while. Maybe he'll stop doing what I don't want him. So it's a scary thing, but you get over it eventually, and you go back to let's get out there and do this some more, because the education's we're seeing the fruit of our educational purpose.
So what do officers learn from you?
They learn that we have a First Amendment right to record in public, that we can go onto public property and record, because wherever you have a right to be, you have a right to record, essentially, public property, and you can stay there and continue to do so as long as you are within your time, place, manner.
And you also mentioned doing police training. How did that happen?
Well, I went to a cannabis dispensary on a sidewalk I didn't go into the dispensary. I was just on the sidewalk, pointing the camera at the dispensary. And this was in Eustis, Florida, actually, not too far from here, about probably an hour away. And had a very bad experience. One of the 2 officers that came was not very professional. I went back for a revisit, and the employees in the dispensary didn't give me any issues that time, but there were still some customers that did, and the cops or law enforcement came out from that same department. And this officer that came out wasn't very professional, I thought. So I went down to the police department this second time to file what's called a formal complaint. And as I was filing that complaint, the chief came out and talked to me, and he called over on his radio. He called that officer who I was complaining about. So the officer came in real time while I was recording and like apologized, and we resolved it right then and there.
Jeez.
The chief was awesome. He was super personable. He had been through this before, was already educated on what this stuff was. Very clearly you could see that. And he said, why don't you come out here and do a training with us at our department? We would love to have you. And he goes, I guarantee you, if you do this with us and you get it out there, there's going to be police departments from all around the country calling you to do the same.
Wow. Well, do you think, things are improving between the police and the public, or are they still kind of bad?
I think it's improving, although there's pockets of areas that still have that, what we call a good old boy system. A lot of these small towns just kind of do whatever they please. But that's why we need more checks and balances. You got a lot of areas that have been operating without cameras, and they're kind of getting away with doing things and have as much PR to deal with. But now that we got cameras and there's eyes everywhere, with technology, they have to be on their best behavior, even more than ever. So
yeah. So do you see yourself as a journalist, an activist, or both?
Both. On my YouTube channel, I have on there some various titles. There's citizen journalist, there's the free press, YouTuber, First Amendment auditor, First Amendment activist. All those would be true titles, I guess you could use interchangeably.
Well, do you feel like pressure having a large audience watching your videos?
Pressure? No, it actually makes me more at ease, because I know that the more eyes that are watching, if my rights are being violated, I know that it's not just me that's seen it. I don't feel like the pressure of having to try to regurgitate like what happened, because I know like all these people have seen what I've seen, and I don't feel that pressure to have to like try to communicate that, because they already know, they've seen it, and it makes it easier for me because I have a platform now where people can, I'm like the head of the spear.
Yeah.
And it's the people that push that through, and they're the ones doing the most change. I'm just exposing it and exercising my rights, and it's great. There's a lot of support. And I'm very happy to say I have some of the best subscribers out there.
Well, there you go. Well, on that note, let's do another quick break to pay some bills.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we're back here with Zach, the Liberty Troll, and we're keeping things interesting out in the real world. So, Zach, do you think anyone can become a First Amendment auditor?
Yeah, anybody can, because the First Amendment's for everybody, and all I'm doing is I'm exercising my, our First Amendment right to record in public. But in another sense, it's not for everybody, because some people might have more of a temper, or might get very uncomfortable to the point where it might, or some people may have PTSD. It might not be good for people like that, because you get a lot of police interaction. Just kind of comes with the territory, the nature of what we do, because you got so many people that just call the cops for everything. You know? I don't like that. I'm calling the cops. 911 or wine 111.
911. I don't like this. Like, do you have like a lot of like problems with like people with PTSD or like TDS?
Do I deal with people like that one? Oh, I mean, some people claim that. Yeah, actually, at that dispensary I was talking to you about, some guy rolled down his window and he's like, "Hey, can you not record out here? I've got PTSD." I'm like, "Were you attacked by cameras?"
Wow. What was his response?
He was talking to the cops, so I think he just continued to whine to the officer, hoping to remove me from the sidewalk.
Yeah, the sidewalk. Yeah, very nice. Well, what advice would you give to someone who wants to, start doing this?
Count the costs. Know that, you can make money doing this kind of thing if you're posting on YouTube, but a lot of that is expenses for, traveling, getting attorneys. There's a lot of investment, a lot of traveling, especially if you're going to travel out of your state. That's very expensive. I just went to New Jersey. That was like $500 for a plane ticket, and then another $500 for a place to stay. So there's $1,000 right there, plus traveling around, Ubering around, all that kind of. If you're getting a rental car, it's another expense. So, just count the cost there, and also count the cost on government retaliation. That's certainly a thing. I've experienced plenty of that myself.
Well, is it more important to know the law or be confident?
Both. Yeah, definitely. If you're thinking about becoming a First Amendment auditor, you definitely want to make sure that not only do you know the law, that you sound confident, because people will take advantage of you if you don't appear to be confident.
Yeah. So what are like some mistakes that beginners who are like trying to start this make?
They think that, well, some people are more prickly than others. I have that more calm demeanor, low-key, respectful, professional, you could say. Some people who are more on the prickly side, they may make the mistake of, coming across as disorderly. They might raise their voice too loudly. So what they're doing and exercising their freedom of press rights is okay, but they may go into like a limited public forum, which would be inside of a public building, not a public sidewalk. That's a traditional public forum. But you have time, place, manner restrictions when you go into inside of a public building, so you can't be like loud or obnoxious and that sort of thing. So I think some auditors might run into the issue of they're being too loud, and now that distinction between what they went there to do and what people are complaining about now and turning it into or gaslighting about their attitude or whatever becomes a problem. Also, not knowing the difference between private public property. I think some auditors starting out went on to private property thinking it was actually public. It actually wasn't. And whoops. So I mean, you just gotta be aware of what public property is. Do your due diligence and do some research before, because sometimes you might actually be walking into like a nonprofit situation, or you know what I mean. So
nonprofits can really get you there.
Yeah.
So do you think young people today understand their rights, or do you think that they need to learn more about it?
Definitely need to learn more about it, and not only that, be desensitized to a stranger with a camera. Yeah. Because there's cameras everywhere, and the reason people are desensitized to those cameras because no one's questioned it. Yeah. Everywhere you go. I mean, by the time I get home today, it'll be on like 200 cameras.
Well, yeah, there you go. Well, how can kids learn about the Constitution in a way that actually makes sense?
Just study it. So I was about to say read it, but I caught myself. Like, study the Constitution. Like, really sit back, read it, try to understand it. You got
even I have a good one. Like, listen to like your 7th, 8th grade civics teacher. Listen to your civics teacher. They teach you so much. Yes. I know, because I learned the rap thing that you were talking about earlier. I even know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and pay attention in your history classes, because if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yes. Right? So if you could teach every student listening today one thing about their rights, what would it be?
One thing about their rights. I would say, well, we're talking about the First Amendment. I would say know that you have a right to exercise your rights anywhere, all right? And if you're in public especially, nobody can stop you from exercising your rights. If they interfere with that, if you're engaged in what's called constitutionally protected activity, that's a common phrase thrown around in the 1A community, and we say that because it protects us. even further. When you say, I'm engaged in Constitution protected activity, and it's that person you're talking to or hears you say that, then violates your rights. You can't turn First Amendment protected activity or Constitution protected activity into a crime. And so know your rights, assert your rights, and protect yourself. And the more you protect your rights, or the more you exercise your rights, the more we keep our rights active, those same rights that our forefathers fought to protect.
Yeah. So do your friends and family support what you do?
Yeah, I'm happy to say for the most part, when I started, I wasn't really sure if my own family supported me in this because, pretty much everything that I've been passionate about most of my life, we were kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. My parents are like on one side of the political spectrum and I'm on the other side. It is what it is. So I was very unsure as to whether or not they supported me in this. And I will say, I do think they support it. They don't like the fact that I do what I do because of they're my parents. It's a risky thing. They don't want to see me.
It is risky. They don't want to see you in jail or nothing.
Yeah, they don't want to see any retaliation against me. Of course, I can understand that. I have kids of my own, but I do think they have said that they know that what I'm doing is
legal.
Lawful. It's not against the law, and they know that I genuinely try to do things in a way that's respectful and fun and low key, and So yeah, to answer your question, they support it. They just wish it was somebody else instead of me doing it. So
yeah. Well, what do you like to do when you're not auditing?
What do I do when I'm not auditing? Well, I spend time with my kids.
It's always a given.
We try to do things that are adventurous, do something different, with them every time. And if I don't have my kids with me, then I do play some video games from time to time. Not as much, but
what's your favorite one?
Well, naturally, because my eldest son plays Fortnite, it got me into it. So I had a little bit of addiction for a while where I was playing that in my downtime, but I'm getting away from that more and more. But yeah, video games. There was a time I used to play Halo. I think you were saying your dad used to play.
I used to play that. I used to play that.
I wasn't nearly as good as you guys, but it was fun. I remember back when I was in college, a group of my friends and I would get together in the split screen on the single. Back when you had like five
split screen.
The split screen, and just spend hours playing Halo. But
man, I remember like 5 years ago when I was like 10, playing Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 with a split screen with my friends on the Xbox. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Man, the memories. But do you ever just want a normal day with no camera? Do you ever get those days?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it takes a toll, on the stress levels, with you never know what's going to happen. I've been attacked before. I've been screamed at. The whole nine.
Well,
yeah.
Screamed at, I can kind of expect that, but attacked?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of times. I've had to use the old pepper spray a couple times.
Oh, well,
and
that's a solution.
And my right hook one time.
Oh, really? Right hook? Dang, was it good?
Yeah, you have to defend yourself. You gotta have some self-respect and assert your rights and So yeah.
Well, who inspired you when you were younger?
Let's see. I when I became a Christian, obviously my Lord and Savior.
There you go.
Jesus Christ. I was inspired probably to a larger degree than I thought growing up by my dad. I have very good parents. Even though we disagree on a lot of things, my parents are they were always looking out for me. So definitely look up to them quite a lot. I
love my dad. He does so much stuff for me that sometimes I don't even realize that he actually does a lot.
Yeah. We were just saying, you got these sweet screens and stuff. I never had that growing up.
Yeah.
My parents would have just got me the ice cream. Your dad got you the awesome equipment.
Yeah, and I have to thank him for it. He's my dad. But if you could go back and talk to your 15-year-old self, since I'm 15, what would you tell him?
Ask me one more time.
If you could go back in time and talk to your 15-year-old
my
self.
15-year-old self.
Not me.
Okay.
I'm 15. So, what would you tell your 15-year-old self? What would you tell him?
I would say really take some time to understand those things you're passionate about and become business-minded with it, because they're always telling us, at least throughout my childhood, do what you enjoy doing, because that's half the battle right there.
Yeah.
And, just really, I wish I would have spent more time I would go back and just straight up say, this is what you're going to be interested in. So start really
Start researching
start
it now.
researching it now so you can get started sooner. Because, man, if I would have known about First Amendment auditing like 10 years ago, I would have been all over this.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea this was a thing. I'm late to the party. Sorry, guys. But, you know, I'm happy I'm in it now, and it's a lot of fun. It's an interesting life.
Yeah, there you go.
Being an auditor and making a living off of it, for sure.
All right, well, now the questions are only going to get harder from here. All right, so what was the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Ooh, that's a good question. None of this is scripted, so I'm on the
it's
spot.
not
I'm
scripted.
literally on the spot here. What's the biggest mistake I've made? Jeez. Kids are watching. Okay, so choose who you marry. Do a good job choosing, because that's the most important decision you'll make. I'm divorced twice. So
was my dad. Don't worry.
So make sure, you kids watching, make sure that you're looking out for those. Pay attention to those red flags.
Yes.
Pay attention.
Pay
Close
attention
to those. Don't overlook
Don't go
those.
too fast.
Yeah, don't go too fast.
Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show, but that one story, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on. You can tell me.
All right. Well, when I went to prom, my senior year in high school, I ended up marrying my high school sweetheart. She's my first ex-wife. And so when I was a freshman, she was a junior, and I ended up taking her to prom. She's my prom date. And so I ate something at the prom, like some kind of I don't know, it was like chicken or steak, and it was bad. It made me sick. I had food poisoning. And so I spent the first 45 minutes of my prom day was amazing, but then I got food poisoning. I went into the bathroom and sat there for a while, and then on the floor, and people were coming in and taking pictures and stuff, because they were like, what's this guy doing, sitting his back against the wall in a stall, And I ended up going home in the back of a car seat, but or back in the back seat, just spread out, in total pain and agony. And she was supportive and during that time, and
During that
kind of
time.
it was an embarrassing time, but it didn't scare her away though. So I thought that's why I overlooked so many of the red flags, and I was like, well, she stuck with me, even during that prom
even during the prom
dilemma.
Yeah, that's a big dilemma too.
Yeah.
Well, what is one thing you wish more people understood about your work?
I wish they understood that I'm not out there to rage bait. I mean, I think I go above and beyond to show that I'm not rage baiting. Yeah, I'm pointing a camera and people are coming up to me because of that. But once they come and talk to me, I mean, I'm as respectful as you can be to a point, unless they're disrespectful, and then I'll match their energy, but I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I don't give them any other reason other than I'm just recording in public. There's no reason for people to treat me the way they do when they come up screaming and trying to start a fight with me,
That's fair. Well, do you have a website or social media for my listeners and want to follow you?
Yeah, my YouTube channel, Liberty Troll, 2 words, liberty as in freedom, and then troll under the bridge. But I'm a good troll though. I troll with liberty into places that forgot what it means to be an American.
All right. Well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
That's a good question too. Jeez, you came up with these questions, didn't you?
I did.
The one question you forgot to ask is, I don't know. I'm terrible at this. This is why I'm not an improv. I don't know. I think you did a great job.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, we covered. We talked about what is a First Amendment auditor. Talked about my first experience and what others should be wary of going into it, and
what exactly is a First Amendment right?
Yeah, and then is it having a positive effect, negative effect? I think you asked me earlier if it's made a difference, and I think actually there is one question I guess you could ask is has it made things worse to some respect as well?
Has it?
It has. And I think it's doing some good, but it's also worth noting it's done it's made things worse too. Not that what we're doing is wrong, but you have some people who just react differently. You have authorities or powers that be in other parts in government that will make things worse and make it if you're walking into a library, for example, it feels like you're walking into the Pentagon. And so they're putting up even more measures and things to target people like me who know our rights and are asserting those rights, whereas other people are taking the time to educate their employees and say, look, just don't lash out, treat them like everybody else, don't ignore them either. So you're seeing the education, but you're also seeing others digging their heels and double down on stupid. And so that's worth noting as well.
Well, thank you, Zach, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
My pleasure.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Liberty Troll, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're solving multi-step word problems. Well, my dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve. And today, you know what? Since you record videos and, up them online, I figured, we could do something with recording and editing videos for YouTube. So, a YouTuber records videos for their channel. They spend 2 hours recording a video and 3 hours editing it to make 4 videos in 1 week. How many total hours should they spend working on videos that week?
Pass. Next question.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and explain it for you, and I'll also for all our viewers.
Okay.
Well, first, this is a real-world problem because YouTubers have to plan out their time carefully, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, recording videos might look easy, but editing can take even longer. Trust me, it can take very, very long time. So first, let's figure out how much time they spend on one video. They spend 2 hours recording and 3 hours editing. So that's 2 plus 3, which is 5, total for one video. So that part was pretty easy. Now we have to figure out how many hours they worked for the whole week. So they made 4 videos, and each video took 5 hours. So we just multiply, 4 times 5, which
20.
is 20 hours.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of, a regular week. That's 7 times what? 24? Something around 4 times, about 148? Wait, no. 168 hours in a week.
Wow.
And 20 of it is for working on videos for 4 of them. That's a lot of editing.
That puts it in perspective. Yeah.
To see how much time it takes to actually, push and actually do YouTube.
And then the public records requests, submissions that.
Oh, yeah.
And then following up on all that too. It's a lot.
But wait, in the real world, sometimes editing can take way longer if something, goes wrong with the camera or audio. My dad edits my show, and sometimes he spends forever fixing things and wants to, strangle some stuff. But I think editors deserve snacks. But my dad doesn't eat snacks. He'd rather just eat later. So, Zach, when you make videos, what usually takes longer, recording or editing?
Editing.
Had a feeling, because editing does take a while.
It does, yeah. It's not fun.
Yeah, it is not.
not
Trust
fun.
me, it is not.
And I do all my own editing, so always have. And now I do my own thumbnails too.
Well, there you go. Well, my teacher said that I would use math every single day. How do you use math in your work?
How many hours am I going to be driving somewhere? How much gas is going to total up for the day? And, how much time I'm going to be spending, before I have to start heading back before rush hour. And then if I'm traveling outside of a certain radius, I might have to spend money on a hotel somewhere, Yeah, it's pretty much all the thought that goes into it. Again, I'm not a math person. I never really sat down to figure all this out. But yeah, it's time consuming for sure. I feel like I spend more time doing this as a YouTuber than the jobs that I've had before when I was in outside sales. And I spend it, when you're in outside sales, you never really stop working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, people can call you at any time and ask questions, and you might be closing a sale like after hours, kind of thing. Or even on the weekend, you're going to someone's business to talk to them or sell them on something or do a presentation. And I mean, I was working a lot then, but I feel like I'm working a lot harder doing this.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Zach, for your help with Math Corners.
Oh, well, it wasn't much help, but you're welcome. Thank you for putting in perspective for me.
And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and ability. Well, this week, we're going to talk about integrity. For me, I think integrity is doing what is right, even when no one else is looking. The qualities of integrity is honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and fairness. Well, I actually saw integrity this week at school. A student found money on the ground near the cafeteria, and instead of keeping it, they turned it into the office so the real owner could get it back. That may seem like a small thing, but small choices are what build strong character. Being lion strong is not about being perfect, it's about, trying to do the right thing even when it's difficult, or even when your friends are watching, and even when nobody would ever know. But Zach, do you ever see an example of integrity that you've seen in your work of helping communities understand their rights?
Yes, I have spoken to law enforcement supervisors actually that have been attacked by their superiors within the government for simply being friendly to First Amendment auditors or having a positive outlook on it. There's someone up in New Jersey. I was just talking about it the other night, actually, in a live stream. Captain Roboso up in New Jersey in North Bergen area, and he is experiencing quite a lot of retaliation because he has appeared on other auditors' videos and has allowed auditors come in and do trainings with their law enforcement, kind of like what I just did recently. And has even gone out on an audit with with an auditor, and
wow.
He's super cool. This guy is a captain, and instead of he could be behind a desk, pushing paper and stuff, or just whatever.
Or he's going on an audit and helping out.
Yeah, but he's making himself available and getting involved in the community, and he's experiencing that retaliation.
That's always good. Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, I believe that. I 100% believe in, I raise my kids to, be honest and put God first because, even though there's not any human watching, there's always a God watching. So
yeah. And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Zach, the Liberty Troll, for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think I learned a lot about, your work, with teaching people about their constitutional rights and running your YouTube channel.
Well, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And do you mind giving your social media and website again?
It is Liberty Troll on YouTube, and you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, pretty much all the big social media platforms.
All right. Well, also you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, Canton 98, Soul Radio 24/7, Easy Way TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please be sure to The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And, Zach, I really hope you're subscribed.
I am.
All right.
Absolutely.
There you go. Well, the Zaner KY2QH says, is that the Tiberius from Cornerstone Charter Academy? Well, yes, it is to Schiff. And Lucky XI says, my name is Andre Dingus, and therefore I am to Schiff Zaner. Well, that makes sense, but it looks like, to Schiff got there first before you. Well, I'm glad to see some love from my old fans, from my new school. And also, be sure to leave a comment on my videos, and I might even mention yours at the end of the show. And also, be sure to listen to us next week on the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.